Hello, this is Captain Poodle speaking. Are you ready to find love?
Yes, ahoy, matey.
Love. Exciting and new. Go online. They're catfishing you.
Shocker.
Fiancé.
Soon you'll be flying to parts unknown.
90-day Beyonce.
Marrying someone you only met on your phone.
Be they French or Chinese, a brand new K1 visa's the key.
Ooh, the key to what, Poodle?
To love.
It's reality, yeah. Let's love.
Well, Pee-wee, I told you, we got all dolled up and all that stuff. I got Botox for him, and I got my hair done. He didn't say anything about it.
I'm so glad you let me stay, Mom. Thanks so much. I was worried you're going to get rid of me.
Not yet. I mean,
What?
I said you look good today, Pee-wee.
Thanks, Mom. When can we kill Cody? Y'all,
It's the
Yo,
single life.
it's the Single Life Season 2, Attack of the Trolls.
Living that single life. Day around without my wife.
Okay. That was a play on Spotlight, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, when we used to do Sissy Spotlight,
and-
a segment no one cared about. Y'all, we get messages every once in a while. They're like, hey, you should record people doing an audio thing on the show. And I'm like, yeah, we did. And no one ever sent anything in. People are like, I guess they just got rid of it. No, y'all got rid of it. We were like, they're going to be so happy to leave a voicemail and we'll play it on the show.
And we did it for our $15 level of our Patreon.
No
we're
one
sorry,
cared.
y'all. This isn't Fraser Crane's show.
Yeah.
You're not going to get to call in and leave a fucking
Yeah.
message. Mostly because I vet every fucking thing that happens on this show, and I'm not going to let you in
Well,
otherwise.
also, you're not going to get it because we didn't ruin it. You did.
We were like, oh, do we have a spotlight? No, nothing.
No, not this week. Okay, I guess we're. What about this next
No.
week? No, still nobody.
Oh, Eliza left one last week.
Yeah, she called again. We love you.
We love you, Eliza.
We do. Very much. So, okay, anybody. So, all right, everybody. I just said, okay, anybody.
Okay, anybody's. Anybody's. Wait, have I talked about West Side Story yet?
You haven't. I'm trying.
You said that in the most dismissive way.
'Cause
You
this-
haven't.
You haven't because this is going to be a long.
I'll save it to the free
I feel
show.
like you should
I'll
save it for the free show.
I'll save it for free.
Yeah, we saw it together. We enjoyed it, but we'll talk about it.
Character of anybody's laid me bare. I would never thought that role could be like that.
We need to move on.
Anyway, so many things I want to talk about.
Y'all, this
Y'all
is
go
season
see
2.
that movie. Go see West Side Story on Christmas.
Go see it.
Sick of hearing people saying musicals don't do well at the box office. I'm sick of it.
I will say, people will comment or ask, and they'll say, I'm thinking about seeing it, but is it good as the first one? I'm like, it's better. And then every single person that came back said, you were right.
You mean as good as the first one? Oh, I don't want to compare the two.
Well, but people are. I mean,
Yeah, but I don't think you can compare a movie that was made in the 60s with, according to those standards, for a movie that was made 60 years later.
But about the same subject matter? Yeah, you are.
No, it's the same story, but I'm saying to say something is better or worse.
But people are going to do that. But
do you really think it's better?
If you fucked a guy in his 20s and then you fucked him again in his 40s, wouldn't you compare it?
No, unless he'd had complete revisions done to all of his storyline, his body, and everything else. So I don't think I could compare the two.
Oh, okay. I would.
Because it's not the same person. This is now it's illustrative of different ideas. We're living in works of art take on the characteristics of the time they're living in.
I agree. I totally agree with you. But
No, I'm just saying I don't think it's fair for you to say one's better than the other.
But I think people are. I think
No,
people,
you said when someone
Yeah, I
asked
did.
you, So you think the film is you think you can say that film is better than the original?
To me,
I don't think those comparisons are fair. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. Okay.
But you do think they're fair.
Yeah, I think in this case I do. Yeah. But I also 100% agree with you. It's representative of the time.
Right.
So it's.
So I'm saying there shouldn't be a judgment.
But people, I think when people are coming to me saying, though, they are already, so the questioner is always already asking me if they're saying, but the first one's so good.
Oh, I see.
So I'm saying, thought it was better. And so when they're coming to ask me that, that's what I'm going to answer. But I could give a long answer and say what you just said, and they're going to roll their eyes and say, delete, tweet, delete, tweet, delete, tweet.
But I
agree with you. We'll save it for the free show. It'll be a good thing to talk about.
Yeah, good idea.
All right, y'all.
I need to discuss this with you because I think there's a better way to saying that doesn't discount the movie that was made in the 60s.
Sure. I don't care anymore. Let's talk about the single life, y'all. Okay, so this is called Leave You and Deceive You. Why is it called that?
I don't know.
Maybe it's a big cred thing because we're not talking about him.
No. I think Leave You is St. John and Deceive You is Jennifer.
Well, she did.
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah.
But first, y'all, we're going to talk about on her date with Jay. Boy, this had a turnaround I didn't expect.
I was a little shocked about this.
But because Jay seems odd.
Yeah.
But then Debbie's not.
Kind of looks like if a raccoon was enlarged to the size of a human being but was older.
And had a red nose.
Yeah.
It's a very red nose.
Kind of a combination of a badger, a human badger, and a raccoon.
Yeah.
With a little walrus thrown in.
Yeah, he does look like a living embodiment of a character. What's that from? Is it the Toad's Place? The one where there was Badger,
Toad Hall, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. All of it.
But all of those little animals.
He does look like one of those.
He does look like one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's what
he's
you
like
just said.
When I first saw him, she looked. When I first saw her, I thought she had an elderly side to her. Looked on the elderly side, but then she got all like dolled up, and I was impressed. And the producer's like, "Why didn't you say that to her?" And he's like, "Oh, I thought I did. What?
I thought I did. Give it time." But you know what? I'm going to take her to a nice place called Hunt Ridge Tavern. This is a fucking dive bar.
It's a dive bar. It's a little sketch. Someone wrote in saying this is actually a historic place.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But anyway.
Well, then maybe it's kitsch.
And so it is. It's super awkward. And he said, "Saw they said some games over there."
There's just some awkward silence, y'all.
Y'all, these date games. I guess this is okay for other people. I think. It gets people talking, I guess, but some of these things will get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something. You go, yeah.
Yeah, I know it would.
Yeah.
It's
silence.
It just depends on your personality. If you're the type that we have to play a game for you to talk to me, you and I are not a match.
I agree.
And you're that way too. Some people, however, are not. Especially, I imagine people that feel either introverted or shyer but still want to date.
See, I'm an introvert.
But you're also a whore.
True. But I'm saying I can talk to one person at a time. Introverts can talk to... Usually introverts are much better one-on-one.
They are usually better one-on-one. But still, but whether it's shyness, introvert, which is not the same thing.
Right.
Or it's someone who is just... is, I don't know, I guess not that
socially
inquisitive.
Awkward.
Yeah, social awkwardness. They can be a good thing for that.
And I think Debbie
in this case, it worked out really well.
Yeah, so they're playing the game, and one says, you're attracted to someone you meet, and talking about one-night stands.
One-night stands,
And he's like, no, I don't do them. Debbie's like, I would. I did them in the 60s.
Sure did, Mom.
I was there for all of them.
Yeah. Still remember that party on the beach. Oh, I had sand everywhere.
And then the next one's like, Jay says, you're offered to be $100,000 to be on a centerfold. And immediately Debbie's like, hell yeah.
I do it.
And
a
he,
lot of money.
I hope I get on the good side, Mom.
and so, and Debbie says, I'm having a good time, enjoying myself.
And he says, all of a
Speaking of
sudden,
beach, yeah.
he just goes, what if you were looking on the beach and you see some people walking around and they're having sex and Debbie's like, no, you walk away. He's like, no, you take pointers.
Jay, you learn it from others. And I was like, okay,
He's a little
Jay.
freaky.
Good for you, Jay. And then they're having a good time in life. And he's like, well, I hate to cut this short, but
Gotta go home.
Work comes first in my life. Wasn't that weird how he said that?
It was. I just think he's awkward.
Well,
really
also,
awkward.
I think this has come up as a point of contention in past relationships. So he wants to make it very clear that work comes first.
Right.
What happened? Who sent you a dick pic?
No, it's my family and my cousins. Everyone's texting about.
Why don't you read that later when we're not performing a podcast?
You just looked on your phone.
I looked for my phone last to look for a song that went over horribly.
That didn't work. Didn't even go over horribly.
I would use my watch sometimes when I was waiting for cancer reports from my father, but not to know who's bringing the fucking green bean casserole to Christmas.
No, this is my
don't
cousin's.
you check in?
Fine, I'll do it later. So
you just want to know when you're going to be able to leave your mother's house and go drink with your cousins.
Kinda.
Yeah.
So also we can't be inside of a bar. I will not do that.
Well, isn't the weather going to be cold?
They have heat lamps.
Is it going to be warm though? Maybe while you're there.
Can we focus on the item at hand?
You're looking on your phone, not even focusing.
Anyway, he says I got to get up early for work because work's important. And he said, but
important.
Could we continue this on another date?
Huh?
And so I was like, okay.
What'd he say, Mom?
I know, Pee. I didn't know what to say about it.
Boy, color me surprised.
We're not going to kill him just yet, Pee Wee.
Oh, man, I was going to get happy.
So he says, you're just a plain Jane. And Debbie's like, what?
She's like, that's not a nice way.
He's
Can
like,
we kill him now, Mom?
It's like, maybe, Pee Wee, let me explain himself.
And he said, no, I like that you're just a normal person.
Like, say that. Now, and she's like, he's funny.
And then Jay said, we could continue this all night if I didn't have to work.
Well, anyway, he walks her to the door. She gets in the door and gives her a hug. And then he says to camera, maybe next time we'll get into more of my background.
Because there's something in my past she needs to know about.
What is it?
What?
3 balls? I've been in jail.
Yeah.
I think he's been incarcerated.
Okay. I think
Bad divorce.
Witness protection.
Oh, he couldn't do the show.
Possibly. I feel
you don't
like
just get out of witness protection.
You don't.
Until someone dies who wants to put a hit on you.
That's true.
I think he's been incarcerated, or because I don't think children would be a problem at that time.
No.
Yeah, maybe incarceration, probably drug addiction past. But I don't know. But what would you tell someone on the second date?
7 wives.
Ooh.
I could see a lot of wives.
Extra toe?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Debbie's going to be fine with almost anything.
Yeah, none of that. Anything we just said, Debbie's still in. Just so y'all know.
So let's talk about St. John, y'all. This is actually a really sad segment that I found myself. I teared up.
I'm just going to say this now. I'm actually almost on the verge of heartbroken for Tania.
Me too.
I feel really sorry for her because
I feel sorry for him too. He lost.
I do feel sorry for him. I think what I feel sorry for Tania, we told this, but the lie that she's been telling to herself about what St. John could be in her life is finally, she realizes that was all just her own lie.
Yep.
Y'all, he's moving out because what's so sad is he's moving out the next morning. Poodle has said this before. Tania really presented herself like she was a cool girl, this empowered woman. And she is an empowered woman, but empowered women. But this cool girl,
empowered woman.
Y'all, he's going to start to drive to Arizona to live with his friend.
She's like, I'll ride with you.
She offered to go on the road trip. He said no. So we see her getting ready. We're like, oh, what's she getting ready? She comes in a robe, all her makeup on, and she wanted to have like a romantic, fun night the night before he's leaving her.
Oh,
I was like,
Tania,
honey,
this is a rookie move.
this is a this is a codependent move.
Yeah. Anyway, it is. She's like, do you recognize these? These are our wedding glasses. And I was like,
And
those are
They're
hideous.
disgusting. They are so gross. They're horrible wedding glasses.
They're awful goblets.
Yes,
too.
and they're like glass and then red, and they're cheap glass. We'll find out later.
Oh, when she said wedding glasses, I went. "Bleh."
I did too. Ugh, golly.
So-
They're not even like Pier 1 on sale glasses.
No. It's
Pier
awful.
1 had great
Awful,
glasses.
Awful. So St. John says,
R.I.P. Pier 1. I think it's still open online.
St. John said, I'm so sad that this couldn't last. And he's like, and
And
St.
he
John
says,
says,
you look fucking sexy. She says, thank you. And she said, well, I feel like you didn't try as hard as he could have.
Before that, he said, I feel like I have almost his ease now that we're breaking up. She kind of looked at him, and that was why.
That was, yeah.
And she's like, and I think this is so interesting, you guys, that Tania is bound and determined to make him feel like the one who is wounding her here.
Yes.
And also
Yet
to
at the
feel
sa-
bad.
And yet, at the same time, I think she wants to tell him what he needs to hear for
Yeah. It is both those things.
She is right where Sinjin Tania basically says, you lived your life to make me happy here. And in a way he did. I think Sinjin's kind of selfish, but he's also this, he will never kind of speak to his own needs.
Right. But it was Tania saying things like,
You really are starting to like her because you've
I know,
been
I'm
calling her
trying to bring-
Tanya,
yeah, I know.
and it's really offensive to me. You need to fucking fix it.
she basically says things like, you were living your life for me, and I told you not to. I told you not to.
She told him not to,
Y'all-
but her actions did not.
Y'all.
Her actions, she made
Yeah.
him focus on her.
Yeah. Yeah. And she will always have that out of saying, I told you not to make me your focus here.
She
You
said,
need to
I
be
told
happy
you I
here."
would move somewhere else. And she said, but you knew I liked living by my family, but I would have moved somewhere else. And I went, that's really unfair because that's really saying, hey, I know you thought you were making the best decision,
Yeah.
but you fucked up.
And it does-
didn't make it, because it's not like he made it bad. He was trying to do what he thought was best for his family.
And it does seem like they talk a lot about it. They talk things out endlessly.
Constantly.
But it's
Constantly.
all in the same circle and nothing ever really gets resolved. And what's weird, you guys, he's trying to support her even though he's kind of a child emotionally.
Yes.
But he's a child who wants to support her emotionally at the same time.
Yes, because she even says you were so bored here and you did nothing but complain about how bored and terrible you felt here. But she's spot on. She's like, she says choices, but she should say what actions were you making to change it? Because we learned this whenever Tania left, y'all. Sinjin, he actually, it's like he that, I guess it's the South African in him where he doesn't want a woman maybe to tell him what to do, even though he's much better than fucking Ronald. Ugh. But just culture, maybe.
God, do we ever have to say that name or cover him ever
Let's
again?
Hope not. But he says,
fucking terrible.
But she's right. Sinjin doesn't act on his own accord to improve his life, really.
No, she's right.
That's why this is a big deal that he finally is saying things like, I've got to leave. But he only is leaving because she said, if you're dating other people, you have to leave.
Yeah. That's what it felt like to me, that he was leaving so he could date, which is unfortunate.
I feel like
he's moving to Arizona, so it's a bigger life change.
But I feel like they are a great example of a codependent relationship.
Yeah. I think they're also a great example of you guys.
A different way that, I'm sorry, let me just preface, a different way that we don't, a lot of time we think, a different way of looking at codependency where they both almost need one another to they both need one another to not just love with. But go ahead
to fill in their version of how the world should be.
Yes,
for each of them, and to fix in the other
they
that's
were
broken in
the
them.
person, not even on paper, but they were Sinjin. The thing this is what I was trying to say. The thing that Sinjin and Tania bonded over is they're both probably fucking Enneagram 4s.
Yeah,
they've got to be different.
Tania's an Enneagram 4. Sinjin's probably more of a 5 or 3.
But I think Sinjin still wants to be unique. Wants to be different, and they both kind of bond over that. They, like you said, filled in the story for what that I picked up and travel. I'm my own man. I left my home country.
It's a more romanticism of life. Which they both have, and
because he's a big romantic.
Yeah, and the one thing I think about why I think this was good to see on television is we were not seeing the traditional person breaking up with someone. And the other person either being the person who's broken up with, both of these people are hurting so much. And a breakup does even if one person's acting like it's not hurting them, it is. You're just not seeing it.
And also sometimes our breakups can happen where you not only still love the person, but it's painful. So it's painful to stay. Y'all, the reason why people, I think, break up is that at least for them, Sinjin realized the pain, and Tania too, the pain of being together is more than the pain of the pain of separating is less than the pain of being together, but it's still really painful.
And I will say it was compelling to see these people break up in a way that we don't usually see on reality shows.
Because normally it's you break up and or even like a John and we were just talking about Lala. Like they break up and they're out of the picture. It's dramatic and they're back together.
Or there's one person who's angry and says like that this person's angry and this person is sad. Or they're both angry. So when both people are mourning over something great that they had.
It's mourning. It was true mourning.
We don't often see that on shows like this.
We don't. And it's honestly... kudos to them. This was a really fucking brave thing to do on television. I agree. I applaud them both for it.
So anyway, that night he breaks their glass.
Yeah, because they get into a fight. They're full on fighting now.
He's crying his eyes out.
Well, we should say before that he gets really angry and says,
"Stop blaming me for shit."
Yeah. She says again, "You need to put yourself first in front of me. You wouldn't listen to me." And this is where she really tricks him. She said. And this is, y'all, because Tania always says, if he would listen to me, he'll be okay.
She knows how to wind him up, too.
She said, if you would have listened to me and what I'm saying, you wouldn't be moving. And that's where Sinjin just blows up and he says, I'm not here to make you happy. She's like, that's what I'm trying to say. But it's not.
No.
And so Sinjin says, I've been trying to make you happy for 3.5 years. I'm fucking done. That's when she leaves. He cries on the couch. And that's when he literally just breaks that fucking cheap glass.
And I think that wasn't intentional.
I don't think it was intentional at all. And he even said this is a metaphor. Our relationship is just in pieces.
I think if there is a retrospective of season 2 of moments, I think I'm going to remember this moment.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
This is a big moment.
Yeah. So when Sinjin breaks the glass, the next day, you guys, he apologizes, she's apologizing, and she even admitted, I just kind of know what it takes to get under your skin sometimes.
And nag you, yeah.
And honestly, that is the one thing. Tanya's self-awareness and the self-awareness Tania's. Sorry, it's getting a problem.
I'm going to kick you off the fucking show. I will.
Tania!
I will call Mary Payne and say, Poodle can't talk about Tania anymore.
The problem that the thing about what she has given to Sinjin is this a little bit of self-awareness about how he feels, because I guarantee you didn't really have a lot before he met her.
No, and I think because he moved all the way to, I think he had to, because he just really took himself out of his life.
And so they both can talk through things in a much healthier way than a lot of people.
They could. He goes to hug her goodbye. His car's packed. He gives her a letter.
Oh.
And then he starts crying.
3 protection stones.
She starts ugly crying, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, even though even though he said, yeah, we loved each other so much, I always felt like I protected you, so I'm giving you these protection stones. And he said, I love protecting you, and I hope these stones
This
will.
one I cried a little bit.
And so he said, I want you to find happiness. I want you to be happy.
I'll always love you.
I always love you. She's like, I mean, I just wrote, I'm going to say it again. I just wrote, this is fucking brave.
Yeah.
This was like riveting television.
But I think this has been the most adult-like breakup we've ever seen on 90 Day Fiancé.
I think ever.
Yeah.
I think we could, for us, ever.
And I'm going to say
honestly,
this in a weird way. The healthiest breakup?
Yes. And probably that we ever will see.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
Maybe when they broke up. But I bet, what's her name? Who became a lesbian? Or not became, but that went into a lesbian relationship. Then now she's with a guy.
Chelsea and Ymir.
Ymir. I bet they had Chelsea was like, listen, we're going to have to break up because I'm in love with Susan. And he's like, what? Mila Box? She's like, you're going to write a new single about it and it's going to be great.
It's like, okay.
I promise.
It's like, you know what? They probably had a good one.
They probably had a good breakup.
But yeah, all these other motherfuckers, y'all, yelling, throwing things, screaming.
Yes. Ymir, put him on the single life.
No one remembers him anymore.
But they would. It's such a good. They really should go back.
He's older now. He was on the
Bears All.
Bears All.
But they should do that. They should bring back some of y'all because some of these relationships are ended.
That is true. A lot of them have been around though.
That's true.
Can we talk about Jeniffer and Jesse?
From this beautiful moment of a real raw relationship to just
dinner with Cacua.
Y'all, by the way, we have followed Cacua on Instagram. His Instagram used to suck, and now he realized
he has. Let's say he's pumped it up a little bit.
Let's just say he's putting some shirtless pictures on there, y'all. His chest looks like North Dakota and South Dakota, just two broad states sitting by each other that you just want to plant your foundation of your home on.
Oh, just wide open prairie.
Oh. I mean, he is
room to graze.
He is a man. He's just
and it's a huge dick.
Huge.
Thick,
y'all,
thick.
I'm telling you now, I am signing up for that OnlyFans, and I'm putting it on.
I'm putting it on Andres Cacua. He goes by his surname.
Putting it on our business cards.
Yes, it's business
My
expense.
says, what does it say? OF Cacua on your billing estate. I said research.
Cacua, you get on that OnlyFans.
Get on it. Ooh,
so I can get off.
Gross.
It was a play on words, you bitch.
Well, I can just see because Poodle and I are cheap, so I'll sign up for it.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we'll
we're only
share an
doing one.
OnlyFans account, and I'll be like, text, hey, why are we blocked from Cacua's account today?
Cease and desist order.
Oh, okay.
I was sending him too many messages.
Okay. Well, that was fun while we had it.
Yep. So they are they're at dinner still, and Jesse
he just
says,
said, "What did you tell him about me?" And he licks his lips.
He says,
Jennifer's like, "We do not need to talk about that." And y'all, she's a horrible liar.
Oh, and
she is a horrible liar.
And you know the worst thing about
a really shitty person.
The worst thing about this this scene, you guys, I know because we all kind of have the worst side of ourselves. It's a little bit Jennifer. And Jennifer was absolutely loving watching Cacua.
Loving it.
There was a part of her that was reveling in this.
I actually think I went, wow, Jesse's with a worse person than himself. She really is. She's the villain
so
of
gross.
These. She is just sinister.
Yeah, Jesse in his fake, weird, passive aggressive, shaming ways.
He thinks he's doing the right thing.
Are dwarfed comparatively to hers.
He thinks he's doing the right. She's like fucking Michelle Pfeiffer in Stardust.
Wow.
That's a good movie.
It's a gay reference.
Have you ever seen that movie?
Yes, you made me watch it.
And you liked it.
But then when Robert De Niro was gay at the end, I was kind of like, really?
I didn't mind that. What's his name was so hot in that movie?
Ben Barnes? Is that his name? Charlie something? Charlie Cox?
Charlie Cox.
I get them confused.
That is Charlie Cox. He's Daredevil now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Riveting.
Wow.
What we learned on our show.
Ooh, and we just found out about Kingpin on Hawkeye. It's so good, y'all.
You watch Hawkeye?
Oh, I watch all the Marvel. That's like the one thing. It's so good. Hawkeye's
is
so
good?
Haley Steinfeld is great on it. Jeremy Renner is great. It's a great show. Love it.
I just think Jeremy Renner comes off as a punk to me.
Oh, and
there's just something about
He's
it.
got like a fat face you want to punch. Like
Yeah.
Even when he's thin, he's got kind of like puffy cheeks, and you just want to like slap him.
No,
in the
just
face.
the actor. It's the actor that bothers me. I don't know
get
why.
that. And the woman that plays
I tried Loki, but I couldn't get into it.
I liked Loki, but it took like about 3 or 4 episodes to get into. But then it kind of all started to make sense when he met the girl Loki, and who.
Thanks
never
for the
got
spoiler.
there. Well, no, there's a bunch of.
Never going to
Lokis.
watch it now.
It was good though. You would like the end. You would like because it kind of goes off the rails.
I love Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah. Did you ever see the thing where he talks about his bisexuality?
Yes.
Yeah, Loki was gay.
No, he was bi.
He was bi. He's whatever. He's been a lot. But anyway, no, the woman that plays Scarlett Johansson's sister, who plays from the Black Widow movie, she's in Hawkeye too, and she's great. And her mom, that actor, you would like that.
We need to
actor.
move on.
Okay, sorry.
Remind me never to talk about Marvel.
Yo, it's only 6
Nerd out.
episodes. And speaking of Eliza, she's freaking out right now. Going, yes!
So I wrote down, she loves this, and Jesse asks about Cacua, were you in a relationship? And finally, Jennifer says, we dated for a little bit, for like 2 months.
And Jesse's like, it's pretty obvious. And
Cacua looks at Jesse and says, you're all red.
yeah, he says, you're all red.
And he was.
And
Because Jesse feels humiliated right here in front of this alpha male, which he thinks he is.
Jesse's not smart, but he's not stupid. But y'all, even if they don't know how to react to it, even we can all feel energy.
Oh yeah,
It's innate to us. Now we
have to turn off something not to feel it.
Like you have to be like a full-on sociopath not to.
Yeah.
But even then, sociopaths feed off. They know that energy and they feed off of it. Y'all, he says he's obviously something's going on, and he gets it, and he even says, I don't want there to be confusion on each side. And meanwhile, Cacua is like, I'm sure when she breaks up with Jesse, she's going to be with me.
And Cacua does this fucking such a transgressive move. In English, she says, for me, never I leave you, to Jennifer.
He said, never I leave you. And Cacua says to Jesse, what's the most important thing for you? And Jesse says, well, the relationship. If I don't have a partner, then I have nothing.
And he's like, okay, so you think you're going to have a relationship with her. And
Jesse doesn't really answer the question.
Mm-hmm. And later on, they finished with dinner.
And Jesse said, I thought this was her gay best friend.
Jesse says, trust is number one for me, blah, blah, blah. And, Jesse's just spouting out Instagram platitudes at one point.
But here's the deal, y'all. They're in the car. Jennifer fucking, and then not in like a, y'all, we've seen people lie on this show, and you can tell that they're kind of probably doing it a little bit for cameras or kind of it's fakery. Like if you want, we posted on our Instagram, but the guy who went on the date with Stephanie, actually, we should talk about that single life.
Yeah.
The guy who went on a date, he wrote an article called I went on
in Medium.
Medium. I went on a date with a girl from 90 Day Fiance who sells farts in a job, whatever.
It was a funny article.
It's a funny article, but it was very validating to Poodle on because everything we kind of said
about
was dead
Stephanie.
on about not about just about Stephanie, but also about the way this show is conducted.
Works, yeah.
Anyway, it was like one thing. This is just because we've talked about this like with on before the 90 Day is that like one of the rules the producers tell them 90 Day Fiance does not exist.
Right.
You don't
It's not
talk
the show.
about it. And went, okay, that's why baby woman Lisa, new baby GL, never mentions that she saw him on Soulja
because the
Boy
show doesn't exist, which is such a smart.
Oh yeah. What just happened outside your door?
Someone drinks a lot of wine in this building, and they're putting their recyclables.
Which one?
I don't know. I just
you don't
hear
look
them
out
doing
the window?
it. No, because I let people live their lives.
You just couldn't make
No,
it.
you're just so fucking nosy. You'll
No.
always do it.
Tell me you haven't go to look and you didn't make it in time.
Maybe.
Exactly. So she's just fucking, and he's like, so I thought you were friends. She's like, there was nothing. It was never serious. Lie
He said
one.
there was no She said there was no relationship. We were dating, and
He
lie
said you
number
could have been
two-
honest. You could have just said that you're dating someone.
Lie number
Lie
two.
number two.
Well, there was no intimacy.
Well, no. Lie number two was she was never in a relationship.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, she said that. And so
They
she
were
lies
dating.
again.
We weren't in a relationship.
And Jesse fools on says so. There was no fucking.
because no intimacy. We didn't. Now she says. Then she in the moment, like immediately she says, intimacy
In
is
that
a
fucking
very
wig.
big word.
Big word. And did you see Jesse's face? Kind of look. He knows they fucked.
Oh yeah.
By the way, were you upset at yourself that you got a little turned on when Jesse said the word fucking?
A little bit. A little bit.
I did too.
Fucking her.
So
So
yeah, he knows, y'all. He kind of his face turns red again, and he kind of looks out the window, and then he looks at her, and she says, "I'm telling him that we
Again.
never had intimacy."
I could not believe
And the
I was
producer said-
having empathy for Jesse.
Yes, and the producer said,
Cannot
"So
believe.
you've never had sex?" And she
With
said,
Cacua.
"No."
And the producer's like, Gary,
Gary,
roll the tape.
Right, sure thing, boss. Sure thing,
Yeah, y'all.
Oh, we just found Gary.
Gary did the equivalent. The producers did the equivalent of Gary roll the tape.
Gary rolled it.
And they told her, yeah, Cacua said he was the best sexual partner you ever had.
And then they show the tape of him saying it.
And she goes, y'all, she doesn't even blink.
This is why she is like fucking evil.
Yeah.
She just smiles and
Just
she said,
blink. She's like, no, he's just lying to people. He's bragging.
He's bragging.
We never got that far.
He's lying.
Now, even if I'm going to use this as an example. Even if she is right and they never got there, she is fully insinuated it used to happen. She loves that he talks about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even so it's just as bad in a way.
So you're telling me Jennifer's talking about that sex is the most important thing in the relationship,
Yes.
and you have to
Yes.
have sex so quickly.
Yes.
And you dated that guy
Yeah.
who's like fucking a Disney cartoon version of just dick. You're telling me that you dated that guy and you never had sex with him?
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, y'all, no.
Yeah.
That's like Poodle going on a date with Cacua and not...
Ooh, he'd earn his name by the end.
He would barely make it out of the Uber.
Can we say here?
Yeah. He was like, just tip him more.
That's all I've got.
All right.
Shall we
we
move
only
on
got-
to Nitaly?
Drive, Jolanta, drive!
Jolanta, I'm desperate for child. Someone just knock me up now.
Knock me up. No. Y'all, they're going to the beach, her and Jolanta, and they're going to go see Ryan. Remember her hairstylist?
Wow, we can't pay. We have to pay friends for
Oh, boy.
Jolanta might be her friend, Yolanta,
I think so.
but Ryan is her stylist, y'all.
Ryan is her stylist. Y'all, he charged, I hope you charged your day, right?
So y'all, they're talking about her slapping Johnny.
She's like, he wanted to touch me all the time. And
she's
the
like,
thing
I'm
is,
like animal that needs shh, shh.
I'm like a wild feral kit, and I need someone to put it through. Now, here it is. She said, Natalie says, the thing here with Natalie, y'all, we find out Natalie, in a way, this is what I tell therapists all. People would come to me and they'd be like, I need to know why. I need to know why. Natalie has the awareness of why.
Yeah.
Y'all, why does not fix your problems? It's, as I said before, it's the what, the how, the when, all that kind of stuff that you have to put in place of behaviors to actually fix any type of physical, emotional problem in your life. Because Natalie said, she's like, I tried to kiss him and I hit him. And Jolanta says, are you crazy?
Jolanta's like, you see this rock? That's what happened when I just closed my eyes and I let him kiss me.
And Natalie says, I think maybe I translated it wrong. And that's where she says that she's been a cat, and she goes into like she's so hurt and she can't be able to trust.
Well, here's the thing, and I want to separate Natalie's experience from just simply having boundaries. That's not what this is.
That's a good point to make.
This is a trauma response to being touched or having personal space issues. That's a trauma response.
And I think actually they didn't seem to at first, but Ryan and Jolanta came about in a healthy way of trying to explain that difference, because they were trying to say, but if you like someone,
right?
Jolanta said, "What's wrong with a kiss on the cheek?"
Or a kiss on the first date or sleeping with someone.
And Jolanta says, they're not going to be able to read your mind. And Natalie's like, you're wrong. I did that. And at first she completely spirals. And I want to say something that really kind of bothered me. Y'all.
I am fucked up with my, what is she like? I am fucked up with.
I'm fucked up with my brain.
I'm fucked up in my brain.
But I will say this, y'all. I don't really like to do this a lot on this show, but this is heresy, and this is a exclusive. Probably you're only going to get here. A vicious lie was told on this show. Jolanta looks right at Ryan and says, "Ryan, are you single?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm single." And she said, "Do you kiss on the first date?" And
I screeched.
And Ryan goes, rarely. Don't.
It's happened.
Maybe once or twice.
Y'all. It's when it's.
We don't want to speak for all gay people, but we're going to speak for all gay people.
Yeah, I'm going to speak for all gay people.
Gay men.
Gay men. Here's the thing: when it's happy hour at Boy Bar,
if
you've kissed on the first date.
When you're wearing that swimsuit and you have those tattoos,
you've kissed on the first date. You've jerked on the first date.
You've given an old fashioned. An old fashioned, a wristy.
Oh,
an old That's just an old fashioned, just a good hand job.
I said jerked.
Yeah.
So just the same thing.
Agreeing with you. Yeah.
I've never heard that as an old fashioned.
Oh, yeah. Come at me if you call a hand job an old fashioned.
Why is it an old fashioned?
I don't know. I just heard that growing up.
Wow. Did not know that.
I had the kid his dad was from, the one kid that said it, the only time I heard it, he was from like East Coast. Like
I'd give you an old fashioned.
His dad was from Philly, and he would say that. And then I noticed we have a mutual friend, Paul, a casting guy, and he's from Philly.
Boston. And Philly.
And he's called it an old fashioned once too. So maybe it's
Philly sissies is a jerk off an old fashioned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you heard wristy?
No, I think you made that up.
No, I've heard wristy too.
No, I've never heard it.
A wristy.
I've never heard of that.
What do you call a jerk off?
A hand job.
Boy, you're just crude. Just crude. Anyway, sorry. I just had to get that out of there. Breaking news.
But I thank you for that, because I thought the same thing. But I keep wanting to say, having boundaries with a date, you guys, which Johnny was touching her a lot. Instead of reacting like she did, she could have said firmly, "No, stop touching me."
Do we think Johnny was kind of creepy?
Yes. 100%.
So that's why.
And we said, good to have boundaries. This has ceased to be helpful boundaries.
It's actually not even about Johnny.
No.
She's going to act probably this way with 99.9% of guys she dates. And Jolanta just says to her, she's like, "Well, you might be missing stuff." And Natalie says, "I'm not a whore."
And I think this just tells
you,
you guys.
This is her black and white thinking.
This just tells you, in no way is Natalie ready to date.
Not
in no
at
universe.
All.
In no universe is Natalie ready to go out on dates with others by herself with other single men.
And we find out the reason she's wanted, it's not even because she's desperate for a child and she needs to have a child. She's 37, I think she said.
And at one point, Ryan, her age keeps changing. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, it does.
And Ryan just gives this yikes face, like, like, I know they're paying me for this, but they didn't pay me this enough.
I might not have a child at all. And then that's where we find out. She says, my mom, after she was born, she doesn't say born. How did she say it?
After I was...
Came out?
After I was brought forth, or after I entered world or something.
So her mother was with her father. Then she was born, and then he divorced his mom and went with another woman and completely abandoned them.
Cut them off.
And cut them
off. And she was raised by her mother and all of the pain. So she was probably raised in this house of resentment to her father.
Because her mother seems like the type that would probably be resentful.
Well, she said, I grew up in pain.
And I wrote, and again, y'all, we don't want to be right.
We don't want to be right.
We don't want to be right, but again, we call this like the first season.
Yeah.
Because I think we were just talking about like 2 or 3 months ago, like why we've never heard from her dad.
Y'all, there's a reason it's called daddy issues. And
it's a real thing.
It's a real
daddy
thing.
issues, mommy issues are a real thing. And Natalie says, which is sad because this is what she thinks about herself. She says she's a complicated, broken person who wants a family. Pardon me. But she's like, there's so much pain inside of me, I can't.
That's why you go talk to someone.
But
it's never going to happen.
Maybe Natalie would, but that's just not part. I don't think Natalie's going to use BetterHelp.
No.
But I mean, culture-wise, but maybe she would try it.
She needs a trauma therapist. Something,
she needs an actual trauma therapist.
Something needs to work through, because I'm saying from season 2 when she was in Mike's house, she's trapped in this trauma response, y'all. Yeah. Every time she's stressed, it goes into, just like her when she was with Yolanta and Ryan, she goes into trauma response then.
Y'all, because it really feels like, because that, like, sometimes she would have uncontrollable laughing in awkward situations. Yep. That's trauma.
Yeah.
And I don't feel for Mike because he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But
I understand him more.
You understand him, and you know that in a lot of ways, I do think probably at first he was trying to do the best that he thought he could.
Yeah.
Because I do think he cared for her in some weird way.
She's not well, y'all. Let it be known.
She's not mentally well.
She's not well.
And y'all, if you find yourself relating to Natalie, I will say again, like, find a therapist, but specifically look for a trauma therapist.
I would agree, because those responses she's having, you guys, intense anger, intense fear, intense laughter, that's because your emotions are not yours.
They're not regulated.
Yeah.
You're not able to regulate your emotions.
Yeah.
And Jolanta says to her, I know you're scared, but you have to do these things. You have to go out. That's actually bad advice, because
I agree.
For someone who's just shy or has a little bit of a confidence issue,
that's okay.
Great advice to give. But for someone like Natalie, it's literally every time she goes out, it's just opening this wound over and over.
And again, y'all, one of the most problematic things said this episode is Natalie says, I need a child to fill the emptiness and pain. A child, a husband, and we've said this over and over again. If there was
I need to find a man of me that makes me safe.
If there was a reality gaze pyramid of things, remember, guys, this is close to the top. You don't need to find someone who completes you.
Because she said a man who fills me up.
Yeah, you don't need. No. Now, I love a man to fill me up, but
fill me up to the cup. But that Crystal Gale song.
But I'm saying, be a whole person before you date.
Yes.
And be a whole person. Don't looking for the person who's going to be your other half. And yet you can find ways to have someone who does, you can kind of fill in the other's blanks in some ways. But don't look for someone who's going to be the yin to your yang. No, it's not how it works.
Your own yin yang, y'all. Yeah. Ryan said something that
be the person you'd like to be with. Be that.
Ryan said the only thing that, again, I think Ryan and Jolanta are being good friends here. They just don't kind of recognize what they're dealing with.
No, they don't realize how crazy she's being.
I think Ryan maybe started to get it because he said, we just need to do baby steps, which is like, but when I say baby steps, like the babiest of baby steps. But I agree, like, she doesn't need to be dating, y'all.
Yeah.
She needs to go have her eat, pray, love. And I think what she's going to end up doing is just trying, but none of that's going to
drive.
It's not, any of it's going to be solved until she has a child. And Natalie's going to figure out a way. She's going to have a child. If there's a father in that child, unless she deals with it, she's going to run him off, and she's going to recreate the pattern that she's going to grow up raising a child the way her
with
mom
her
did
mother,
and she's going to be bitter.
Oh, you just said it, and I know it's true as soon as I hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, it hurts my heart.
That is the pattern. And I have a good friend who her father left them, and her mother was still is to this day, even though they've been divorced for 25 years. She's still very bitter and hates her father. And thank God my friend had to work really hard in like therapy and on her own self. This isn't just like this was like 3 or 4 years of like really working on herself to kind of just get to a place where she realized she doesn't have to recreate that.
And she can be in equitable romantic relationships and not have to replicate what happened with her. Because when you grow up with something, you guys, where else are you going to need to know how the world works?
That's where you learn.
That's where we learn all of our patterns. So when people say, but just because your parents did that doesn't mean you have to. No, that's how else you're going to see everything when you're younger.
Yes, and Natalie feels like her mother is probably the only person in the entire universe who understands her.
Ugh.
So she probably listens to, even though she doesn't want to, she probably listens to what her mother has to say. And I bet that relationship is complicated because I bet Natalie really loves her mother, but I bet a part of her hates her mother.
Oh, yeah.
Just because she probably blames her mom.
Well, that's the show.
That's the show, y'all. Now that we brought up your childhood trauma and you're just crying in the tub.
Boy, I would.
God, the single life is good.
I would tell you if you're seeing a lot of, if you see a Natalie, if you see a lot of Natalie and you sympathize with her always, and you're going, well, why Natalie's a victim in all this? I would encourage you to take a long look at what your own experiences are. I might talk to someone because this is classic.
It's
traumatic.
Very classic.
Trauma response.
It's what I was excited about watching The Single Life. And we don't get them in like the Ed segments, which we don't even watch. And or really even in the Stephanie. That's kind of what we learned from the article, y'all. A lot of the Stephanie is just fake.
These were the more emotional
they
ones.
balance it. They've got to have reality stars on some of these people. But Debbie... Natalie, St. John. I think that dating is, one of the most vulnerable things humans can do.
I agree. It's hard.
And watching people do it, we really can use this opportunity to see ourselves in these people.
That's why I love that show, Dating Around. I love
that show too. Yeah. Because that show was really good about, and kind of what 90 Day Fiancé does with some of these people, not all of the storylines, they don't put expectations of where the end game is going to end up on these stories. We just don't know.
Yeah. But
y'all, St. John's going to bang a lot of people across America.
A lot of eras, all hands across America.
He's going to go to where's he driving? Where's she? Connecticut?
Yeah, but I think he went to the Appalachian Trail. St. John was in South Carolina for a while. All my friends were all about it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, where are you from?
I wouldn't mind dating a Southern girl or a Gothic girl.
Yeah.
Blonde Southern girl.
Anyway, y'all. Hey, look, we'll be talking about this still all on our live show, y'all. Come see us in Chicago.
What's in our live show?
Chicago. We got tickets.
Chicago. That title in town.
Where we're going to be on Friday the 7th and 8th. Our 8th, the Saturday show is sold out. But the Friday show is not sold out.
It's not. It's about 50%. So we're 50%.
Good. So we got plenty of tickets. Bring all your friends. You know what?
And bring your husbands.
No, God. Bring.
I'm scoping out space for Poodle's playpen there, right at the front.
Bring your homophobic neighbor. Or,
I think they leave pretty early.
But bring somebody who won't gay bash us, but will be offended enough. Bring them too.
Oh, that's my favorite audience guest. Who's just slightly offended,
but can't deny that it was somewhat titillating to them.
Who's had kind of their world rocked.
Yeah, love those.
I will mime getting fucked by a train of men, and they'll be offended, but also somehow titillated.
Oh yeah, what does titillated mean for?
Ooh.
You could do the signal for approach meeting point. That is
Short one.
Yep, there it is. I really love this. From Mapleland, Middlebury, Vermont. Love this train whistle.
Me too. Love it.
Okay, ages 5 and up.
There you go.
Y'all, we call these people lonely hearts because aren't we all just lonely hearts looking for love, Poogs?
Yes. And if you look like Mr. Badger from Toad Hall... First of all, it was a good Christmas, wasn't it? Toad. That Toad Christmas was wild. And call us.
Call us.